Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, the middle of your week, we have Westerns and Crime. We start out in San Francisco in an episode of Have Gun Will Travel starring John Dehner. We head then to Dodge City, Kansas for an episode of Gunsmoke with William Conrad. We will have Gerald Mohr in an episode of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, an episode of Gangbusters, and then an episode of Suspense and a rotten cop on the take. It's all coming up on this Wednesday. You know what that means. This is the 28th day of February, 59th day of the year, and we have just 307 days remaining. And no, this is not the last day of February, because we have one more this year. In 1784, John Wesley chartered the Methodist Church. In 1827, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Incorporated, becoming the first railroad in America offering commercial transportation of both people and freight. In 1844, a gun on the USS Princeton exploded while the boat was on a Potomac River cruise, killing 2 U.S. cabinet members and several others. In 1849, regular steamboat service from the west to the east began with the arrival of the SS California in San Francisco Bay 4 months and 21 days after leaving New York Harbor. You got to remember, back in those days, it had to go all the way around South America, the southern tip of South America, to make it from one coast to the other. There was no Panama Canal in 1849. 1850, the University of Utah opened in Salt Lake City. In 1854, the Republican Party organized in Ripon, Wisconsin. In 1861, Colorado organized as a U.S. territory. In 1883, the first vaudeville theater opened in Boston, and a fun time was had by all. In 1885, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company incorporated in New York State as a subsidiary of American Bell Telephone. American Bell would later merge with its subsidiary. Wallace Carothers discovered nylon on this date in 1935, and in 1953, James D. Watson and Francis Crick announced to friends they'd discovered the chemical structure of DNA. Formal announcement would follow on April 25th, the publication in the April magazine of Nature. In 1960, the U.S. defeated Czechoslovakia 9-4 in ice hockey to win the gold medal at the Winter Olympics in Squaw Valley, California. Now, it was on this date in 1966, the 11th Commandment created by then California Governor, Republican Party Chairman, Gaylord Parkinson. Now, in his 1990 autobiography, An American Life, President Reagan attributed the rule to Parkinson, explained its origin, and claimed to have followed it.
I am going to abide by the 11th Commandment, which was given birth in California and which says, "Thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican."
Now, Reagan followed the 11th Commandment in his race against fellow Republican candidate George Christopher in the 1966 election for governor, and defeated Christopher in the primary and former Governor Pat Brown in the general election. Now, in 1976, Reagan lost to Gerald Ford in the first 5 primary elections following the commandment, then abandoned it in the North Carolina primary and began winning against the sitting president. Ford finally won the nomination, but lost to Jimmy Carter in the general election. It was speculated that Reagan's attacks cost Ford the general election. Of course, there were probably other reasons, but that's what happened. After 7 years, in 1974, the U.S. and Egypt reestablished diplomatic relations. In 1983, the final episode of MASH broadcast, becoming the most-watched television episode in history at the time, anywhere between 106 and 125 million viewers in the United States. The first Gulf War ended on this date in 1991. It was on this date in 1993. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Agents raided the Branch Davidian Church in Waco, Texas, with a warrant to arrest the group's leader, David Koresh. 4 agents and 5 Davidians died in the initial raid. It started a 51-day standoff. In 2001, an earthquake measuring 6.8 on the Richter scale hit the Nisqually Valley in the Seattle, Tacoma, and Olympic areas of Washington state. And in 2013, Pope Benedict XVI resigned as the Pope of the Catholic Church, becoming the first pope to do so since Pope Gregory XI in 1415. Passing away on this date in history, Eddie Anderson, Rochester. Actress, singer, dancer Ruby Keeler, historian, political commentator Arthur Schlesinger, Jane Russell, George Kennedy, Andre Previn, and Paul Harvey.
Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news.
You know, I have somewhere a recording of Paul Harvey's last broadcast back in 2008-2009. He passed away in 2009. And while you could tell he was not who he was, he still had that sharp wit. And that is what made him the voice of America during his years. Paul Harvey, passing away on this date in 2009. Now, among those born on this day who are no longer with us, actor Charles Durning.
Ooh, I love to dance a little sidestep. Now they see me, now they don't. I've come and gone. And ooh, I love to sweep around the white step. Cut a little swath and lead the people on. Ooh, I love to dance a little sidestep. Ooh, I love to sweep around the white step. Cut a little swath and lead the people on.
What a wonderful actor, Charles Durning. And, of course, that sidestep from the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Charles Durning, born on this date in history. Also born on this date, gangster Bugsy Siegel. From the creator of Terry and the Pirates and Steve Canyon, cartoonist Milton Caniff, born on this date. Actress Billy Bird. Actor Zero Mostel. Oh, and while we're going to get Joe South, also born on this date in history. Another actor of some fame, Frank Bonner. You knew him best as Herb Tarlick from WKRP in Cincinnati.
That's why I say, with the proper military backing, we can go anywhere in the world and say, we are Americans. Give us your girls.
Having been in radio now for almost 50 years, I can say I knew somebody like everybody in the show WKRP in Cincinnati. I knew my Herb Tarlicks, I did. Frank Bonner, born on this date in history. He's no longer with us. Also from television, Gavin MacLeod from The Mary Tyler Moore Show and The Love Boat, born on this date in history. And also born on this date, the irascible Gilbert Gottfried.
You know, to think that for all these years I could have had Julia Roberts. I never tried to ask her out. I figured, what chance do I have? She's waiting for some incredibly good-looking guy to come along. Boy, was I an idiot. The only thing that kept her single this long is every other guy looked too human. I should have made her pass it, though. What's the worst thing she could have said? Gee, I'm sorry, you're a nice guy, but you have a normal-shaped head.
That had to be between 1993 and 1994 when Julia Roberts was married to Lyle Lovett. A lot of people never figured that one out. They only lasted 2 years. But Frank Gilbert Gottfried, making fun of Lyle Lovett. Gilbert Gottfried, born on this date in history. We lost him back in 2002 at the age of 2022, at the age of 67.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
And among those people is the very fast race car driver Mario Andretti, who is 84 years old. Bernadette Peters, the singer, turned 76 today. Pro wrestler Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, 71. You know, in the last year, he appeared for All Elite Wrestling in a non-wrestling role. He did play a referee, and he took a couple of mean, vicious bumps at 70. I would never mess with Ricky Steamboat. Tommy Chong's daughter, Ray Don Chong, is 63 today. From House, Robert Sean Leonard is 55. From Heroes and Final Destination, Ali Larder is 48. Jason Aldean, try that in a small town. Jason Aldean, 47. It was not racist. And from Once Upon a Time and the Tudors, Sarah Bolger is 33. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 28th day of February as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
Thanks for joining us here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Wednesday. And we will start off with an episode of Have Gun Will Travel starring John Dehner from 64 years ago, February 28, 1960, The Tale of Bad Bert. And Bad Bert will surprise you. Will surprise you when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues.
Keep your guard up. That's the key slogan of the 1950 National Guard recruiting drive, and it's a slogan as timely as today's headlines. More than ever before, America stands prepared, and the National Guard must recruit approximately 220,000 men as soon as possible. By joining the National Guard, young men will have the advantage of choosing their own unit and preparing themselves for promotion by being in a job for which they are best qualified. Investigate the National Guard now. Help America to keep up its guard.
And now on this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll head out west to San Francisco, California, and an episode of Have Gun Will Travel from 64 years ago, February 28, 1960, the story of Bad Bert.
It's always good to meet up with an old friend. But I didn't know when we renewed this friendship that it would lead to your destruction.
Have Gun Will Travel. Starring Mr. John Dehner as Paladin. San Francisco, 1875. The Carlton Hotel, headquarters of the man called Paladin.
Come in, hey boy.
Oh, it's not hey boy. Oh, it's Mr. Wong.
Oh, Miss Wong. Well, come on in. I thought it was hey boy. He was going to pick up my laundry.
Oh, Mr. Wong bring laundry.
Well, thank you.
Hey boy, very busy making reservation on Stagecoach for you. He say, tell you stage leaves in 1 hour, and that carriage will be waiting in front court in a few minutes.
Oh, then I better hurry. Would you mind unwrapping those bundles for me, Miss Wong?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I no sooner get back to San Francisco and I have to turn around and go out again.
Where you go this time, Mr. Paladin?
Well, Miss Wong, I am going to a place called Diamond Springs. That's east of Sacramento.
Diamond Springs?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wong, never hear of it before. Big mystery for you to solve there?
As far as I know, only the mystery of a bank robbery. One man got away with $20,000, and the bank president has hired me to find him.
$20,000, awful lot of big money.
Yes, it is, Miss Wong.
Mr. Paladin.
Yes?
One nice thing about when you gone most of time.
What's that?
Not much work for Miss Wang to do in your room when you're not here to mess it up.
Well, I'm glad that you're happy I'm leaving.
Constipation is something people don't talk about much, but it can be a problem for anyone, even doctors. And when constipation occurs, it's interesting to see just what doctors consider important about a laxative they might use or recommend. Well, a majority of the doctors we heard from had this to say.
A laxative should be effective, gentle, as close to natural acting as possible, and a medicine that can be used with complete confidence.
Now, X-Lax has been popular with many doctors and millions of people over the years because pleasant-tasting chocolated X-Lax is effective. Overnight, it helps you toward your normal regularity. X-Lax is gentle. Next morning, it gives you the closest thing to natural action. And that's why many doctors and millions of people use X-Lax with complete confidence. X-Lax, the laxative that helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight. Is X-Lax in your medicine cabinet?
Traveling on a stagecoach can be a lonely, tiring experience unless you're fortunate enough to have someone interesting to talk to. And at the beginning of this trip, I thought I was fortunate. Accompanying me was a man I had known in the Army during the war. He had been a supply sergeant in my company in Illinois. I hadn't seen him for 10 years. His name was Wake Lockton. After many miles filled with chatter of old times, I remember that I had not been particularly fond of this man.
If I'd known you'd lived in San Francisco, I would have looked you up, Paladin. I get in there about 3 times a year.
Yeah, what kind of work do you do, Wake?
I'm a whiskey drummer. I cover all the Sacramento, Amador, and El Dorado counties. And I can tell you, it ain't much fun being on the road all the time.
No, it isn't.
How far are you going?
Diamond Springs.
Well, I'll be doggone. So am I. That's my home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, how long you be there?
It all depends.
You're welcome to bunk down at my house. No need to stay at that lousy hotel in town. Lydia can fix up a cot for you in the front room.
Lydia?
My wife.
Oh, is that the girl you used to write to all the time?
Yep.
The one back in Boston?
That's right.
Yeah,
we've been married a little over a year now.
Yes?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, you thought I'd never make it, huh?
Well.
Well, it was a struggle, all right. I begged her for 5 years to come out and marry me, but her family wouldn't let her come. But you know something, Paladin? She loved me so much. She just up and left him and came out here all by herself.
Yeah, well, she must be quite a girl.
Oh, she is the prettiest little thing you'll ever see. You hiring out your gun to somebody in Diamond Springs?
That's right.
Who?
Mr. Baldwin.
The man who owns the bank?
Yes, that's right.
Hey, I bet he hired you to look into that robbery he had a couple of weeks ago by that bandit fellow. What's his name?
Grant Halleck.
Yeah, Grant Halleck.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be doggone. You know who can tell you more about that holdup than anybody else in town?
No, who?
My Lydia.
Well, how's that?
Oh, she was an eyewitness to the whole thing. She was in the bank when it happened. That Halleck fella grabbed her and used her as a shield to get away. Forced her on his horse with him, holding a gun to her back. I was on a trip at the time.
What happened?
Rode out of town with her, kept her in the mountains overnight, and then let her loose. Sheriff and his men found her the next morning walking back toward town. You know there wasn't a scratch on her? She said he was real kind to her, just using her to cover up while he got away. Can you imagine that happening to my Lydia?
I'll be anxious to talk to your wife. Any information she has will help me track him down.
Yeah, it's a blessing I was out of town when it happened. It was all over when I learned about it. Saved me all that agony. Here we are. Go on in, Paladin. Meet the prettiest little girl you ever saw.
All right, Wake.
Lydia? Must be in the kitchen. Come on.
Wake, is that you?
It sure is.
I wasn't expecting you today.
Well, I didn't have time to let you know, honey. How's my little princess?
Oh, put me down, Wake.
Ain't she full of spunk, though, Paladin?
Put me down.
Honey, I want you to meet an old friend of mine. Mr. Paladin, my wife, Lydia.
How do you do?
Lockton?
He's going to be in town for a few days, and I asked him to stay with us, but he checked into the hotel instead.
You don't have to put your arm around me in front of guests, Wake.
She's the proper one, though.
It's a pleasure to have you in our home, Mr. Paladin.
I've asked him to have supper with us, honey. You can fix up some of those fancy victuals so as I can show him what a wonderful little cook I've got.
Oh, no. Don't go to any trouble for me, Mrs. Lockton.
We're delighted to have you. But Wake, you'll have to get some pork out of the smokehouse. I wasn't expecting you home today.
Why, sure, honey. I'll only be a few minutes, Paladin. You just make yourself comfortable. Oh, he wants to talk to you about the bank holdup, Lydia. Tell him all about it.
Why are you interested in this bank robbery?
Mr. Baldwin has hired me to find Grant Halleck and the money.
Mr. Baldwin hired you?
Yes. I have an appointment to see him tomorrow morning. For a fee, he's hoping that I may succeed where the sheriff failed.
Oh, I see.
Well, Wake was telling me that you had a bad experience in connection with the holdup.
Wake talks an awful lot.
I was hoping that you might be able to give me some details about Halleck's appearance or habits that would be helpful to me.
If you don't mind, I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh, well, perhaps later then.
Mr. Paladin, I don't wish to discuss it, not ever.
Are you smoking more now, but enjoying it less? Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. The best tobacco makes the very best smoke. Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. Are you looking for flavor and mildness? Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. The best tobacco makes the very best smoke. Have a real cigarette, a real cigarette, a real cigarette, have a Camel.
Again, for the 11th straight year, Camel outsold every other cigarette, filter, king size, and regular. The best tobacco makes the best smoke. So if you're smoking more now but enjoying it less, change to Camels. Get more real satisfaction every time. Start to really enjoy smoking again.
Have a real cigarette, a real cigarette, a real cigarette, have a Camel.
My short visit to the Lockton home was clouded by Wake's usual generous warmth and the cold, formal behavior of his wife, Lydia. On the way back to the hotel, I couldn't help but wonder why she refused to discuss the robbery, but then I realized it must have been a painful experience. The next morning, I had breakfast at the hotel and then walked toward the bank to keep my appointment with Mr. Baldwin.
Paladin!
Huh?
Paladin, hold up!
Wake.
Paladin, I gotta talk to you right away.
What's the matter?
It's Lydia. She's gone.
Gone?
Left me.
When?
This morning, I woke up and she wasn't there. She left me a note saying she was leaving on the early stage.
Where was she going?
Back east to Boston.
Why'd she do that?
Well, I don't rightly know.
What didn't she say?
Well, there was something in the note about things not working out the way she thought they would, but I don't understand that. She's been happy as a bird. You saw that for yourself last night.
Oh, yes, but did you check the stage office?
Well, no, I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
I wouldn't want anybody to think I didn't know she was leaving.
I see.
It'd make me look like a fool.
Well, don't you know they'll find out sooner or later anyway?
Well, not if I can stop her and bring her back.
How do you figure on doing that?
Well, I thought you might be able to help me.
How?
We could ride up to Placerville and meet the stage there. I can talk her into coming back.
Well, the stage has been gone 2 hours.
I know that, but it always stops there for an hour or so. If we rode hard, we'd make it.
No, Wake, this is something you can do alone. I can't see that I would be any help just by riding up there with you. This is a private matter between you and your wife.
If I didn't need you, I wouldn't ask you. Now, I'm not much for bearing down on a horse, especially alone on a trail. We're old friends, Paladin, remember? And I'm asking you to help me.
Well, all right, Wake, I guess my business with Mr. Baldwin can wait. Let's go.
I told you we could make it. Look there, stage is still here.
They're behind schedule. We didn't make up that much time. Ooh.
Now that I'm here, I don't know for sure what I'm going to say to her.
You'll think of something. Come on.
I don't see her. Maybe the clerk knows where she is. I'll ask him.
Wait a minute. This man will know. You the driver?
That's right.
Well, we're looking for the woman who was on your stage.
Well, the one that got on in Diamond Springs?
Yes.
You from the sheriff's office here in Placerville?
No. Why?
Well, I was just wondering. I knew it was out of his territory. We wired the sheriff at Diamond Springs so he can take care of it.
Take care of what?
Well, didn't you hear?
Hear what?
Hey, now, wait a minute. Why are you fellas so interested anyway?
She's my wife. We rode in to meet her.
Oh. Well,
what happened, mister?
Well, she was kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Right off the stage. We're about 10 miles out of Diamond Springs when it happened. This fella rode out in front of the stage carrying a shotgun and signaled me to stop. I thought he was going to rob us. But all he did was yell to the lady inside to step out. She did, and then he told me to go on.
What did he look like?
I couldn't tell much. Had a bandana over his face. Tall, lanky fella, though, with a deep voice. That's about all I noticed.
Who'd want to do that to my Lydia?
I don't know, Wake. Well, it could have been Grant Halleck.
Halleck? But why?
We might find out if we could pick up his trail.
I can tell you right where it happened.
How about it, Wake? You ready to start back?
Sure.
All right, go take our horses over to the livery stable and rent some fresh ones. I'll meet you there in a few minutes.
Even if you've had embarrassing dandruff for years, you can get rid of it now in 3 minutes. That's all it takes with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. Yes, unsightly dandruff's gone in 3 minutes with Fitch, quickest, easiest of all leading shampoos. What's more, using Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away. Just apply in the unique Fitch manner. Before you wet hair, rub in 1 minute. This way Fitch shampoo penetrates right down to the scalp. Next, add water. Lather 1 minute to wash every trace of dandruff out of your hair. Then rinse 1 minute. All that loosened dandruff goes down the drain. In 3 minutes, with Fitch, 1 rubbing, 1 lathering, 1 rinsing, dandruff's gone. At the same time, gentle Fitch can leave your hair up to 35% brighter. To get rid of dandruff problems forever, brighten hair too, use Fitch regularly. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today, only 59 cents.
The stage driver's directions made it easy for us to find the spot where the kidnapping occurred. Lydia's heel prints in the soft ground led to the side of the road and disappeared in a maze of hoof tracks. She had obviously mounted the horse with Grant Halleck or whoever her abductor was. At this point, I couldn't be sure, nor could I imagine the reason why. Wake and I followed the tracks into the mountains to the east. We rode for hours.
You'd think we would have run into the sheriff by now.
Yeah, if he is out looking for her.
Yeah. If it was like the time when Halleck robbed the bank, it'll take him till tomorrow to get some men together. If Lydia hadn't left me this morning, we wouldn't be in all this trouble. I don't understand why she had to cause me all this agony.
Aren't you worried about your wife, Wake?
Well, sure I am. What made you ask that?
I don't know. Oh, boy. Oh, no. See, this is where the trail ends.
Which way do you think they went?
Either straight ahead or to the right into that thicket. It isn't likely they'd go up into the rocks to the left.
Which way you want to look first?
The thicket. Come on. Come on. Oh. We better get down and scout for tracks. Now you go down there, and I'll look up this way.
All right.
Hey. Hey, Wake.
You find some?
Yeah, right there, see. We better walk. Follow me.
Well, look at that.
Huh.
Who'd ever guess there'd be a clearing back here with a shack sitting right in the middle?
This may be where they are.
It looks empty to me. There's no smoke coming out of the chimney. If anybody was there, they'd surely have a fire.
Oh, no. Not if it was Halleck. He wouldn't want to attract attention with smoke. Hey, you hear that?
Yeah, it was a horse.
Came from the other side of the shack. Somebody's in there.
What'll we do?
Well, you better wait until it's dark and then ease up and take a look inside. If Lydia's in there with Halleck, we got to be careful she doesn't get hurt.
Look.
Uh-huh. That must be Halleck.
Fits the description the driver gave us.
Yeah. He's going out back to see about the horse. You stay here.
Where are you going?
Just stay here.
Oh, boy. Steady, boy.
All right, Halleck. Stand where you are. You all right, Mrs. Lockton?
You shot him.
Yes, ma'am. He's dead.
Dead.
Lydia? Lydia, you all right? There now, don't fret, Lydia. You're safe now. No need to cry and soil your pretty little face.
Oh, you get your hands away from me.
Lydia, why are you acting like this?
Just let her be, Wake. She's had a bad shock. And just give her time to collect herself.
Yeah, you'll be all right, Lydia, as soon as we get back to our little home. Get some rest and forget about this terrible experience.
I'm not going back with you, Wake.
What?
I left Diamond Springs this morning for good, and I'm never going back.
Why are you saying that, Lydia?
You wouldn't understand if I explained it to you. Oh, there's no use talking about it.
Well, sure I would, honey.
I tried to tell you many times, Wake, but you never listened. Would you understand if I told you I was tired of being put on a pedestal, carted around the streets of Diamond Springs, with you pointing your finger up at me and saying, "Look, there's my pretty little wife. Ain't I something to have her all to myself? Ain't I the luckiest man you ever seen?" No, Wake, no. You never stopped to think that I was a human being, that I was a woman. But I found out what it means to be a woman when I fell in love with Grant Halleck.
Lydia, what are you saying?
Yes, I fell in love with Grant the first time he carried me away. He told me I had to go back before the sheriff found him, told me to wait until we could plan something so we could leave this country together. When you were away on your last trip, he came to the house late one night, told me his plans. He didn't kidnap me today. That was what we'd planned to do. We were going to hide here for a week and then go up north to Oregon.
And take the bank's $20,000 with you.
I didn't care about that.
But you knew he had it.
Well, it didn't matter.
Where is the money?
In the cabin somewhere, I guess.
I can't believe you do this to me, Lydia.
Wake, why don't you get our horses?
All right, sure.
He'll never understand.
I'm afraid you're right.
What am I going to do now, Mr. Paladin?
Well, first, you're going back to Diamond Springs. The sheriff will want to know what's happened. After that, well, I'm sure you can decide what's best for yourself.
Oh, this miserable cold. And my sinuses.
Haven't you heard about Dristan? Dristan decongestant tablets for real relief from cold's misery and sinus congestion. Dristan is the revolutionary three-layer tablet which for the first time makes it possible to unite certain medically proven ingredients into one fast-acting, uncoated tablet. Dristan not only helps drain all 8 sinus cavities, critical areas of cold's infection, but circulating through the blood, Dristan's decongestant reaches all congested areas, shrinks all swollen membranes, relieves pressure and pain. An exclusive anti-allergent helps keep breathing passages dry and clear. Pain relievers reduce body aches, fever. Vitamin C helps build body resistance. This is Dristan. Today, Dristan is widely imitated, but the exclusive Dristan formula cannot be duplicated. There's nothing like Dristan decongestant tablets.
Oh, Mr. Paladin.
Hello, hey boy.
Didn't know you're coming home today.
And what are you doing all dressed up in your Sunday suit?
Work all done for the day, so change your clothes here for a big party tonight in Chinatown. Just leaving when I see you come in hotel.
Well, I must say, you look like you just stepped out of the pages of Harper's Weekly.
Isa. Hey, boy, plenty smart dresser. Hey, you have nice trip?
It was all right.
You capture bank robber?
Uh-huh.
Return money to bank?
Yes.
Oh, you get big fee.
Yep.
Then bank president plenty happy he hired you, eh?
He seemed to be, but he was a little puzzled.
Puzzled? Why?
I finished the job before I had a chance to meet him.
Oh, you finished the job. Oh, how you do that?
It's a long story, hey boy. I'll explain it to you tomorrow. You better go. You don't want to be late to that party.
Oh, no, sir. There'll be plenty of champagne, lots of pretty girls.
Well, if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll know the reason why.
Oh, yes, sir.
Good night, hey boy.
Good night, Mr. Paladin.
Munch, munch, munch a bunch of Fritos, corn chips. It's not polite to smack your lips, but you can't help it with Fritos, corn chips. Munch, munch, munch a bunch of Fritos, corn chips.
Next time you want something to munch on, try Fritos. They're so crisp, so tasty, so good. You'll see right away why we say Fritos are the corn chips made to munch. Fill a big bowl with Fritos next time you settle down to watch your favorite TV program. Boy, there's contentment in every munch.
Munch, munch, munch a bunch of Fritos, corn chips.
Fritos are golden chips of corn, as nutritious as they are delicious. So full of good, crisp flavor, such good-for-you nourishment, they're the ideal snack for grown-ups and children alike. Get a bag of Fritos corn chips today and munch a bunch. Fritos, Fritos corn chips.
Munch, munch, munch a bunch of Fritos, corn chips.
Have Gun Will Travel. Created by Herb Meadow and Sam Rolfe, is produced and directed in Hollywood by Frank Paris and stars John Dehner as Paladin, with Ben Wright as Hayboy and Virginia Gregg as Miss Wong. Tonight's story was specially written for Have Gun Will Travel by Mr. Paris. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Clayton Post, and Betty Harford. This is Hugh Douglas inviting you to join us again next week when CBS Radio presents Have Gun Will Travel.
From 64 years ago, February 28, 1960, Have Gun Will Travel on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, we'll head to Dodge City, Kansas, see what's going on in the world of William Conrad as Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
Thank you, Mr. Fenneman. On this Wednesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. By the way, tomorrow on our show on Thursday, we'll have a bunch of leap year shows, shows we only get to deal with every 4 years. So we'll deal with the 1952 edition of the Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis show with Tony Curtis as the guest, George Burns, Gracie Allen, George to star opposite Dorothy Lamour from 1944, an episode of The Lives of Harry Lime and the Hyacinth Patrol, an episode of Nick Carter in the Case of the Boy Who Got Lost, and an episode of X-1. That's all coming up on our Thursday edition. But right now, let's head to Dodge City and see what's going on with Marshal Matt Dillon and the crew at Gunsmoke. February 28, 1953, 71 years ago today, the Trojan War.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
It's a cold morning, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. I'm ready for spring, Chester. The tail end of winter always gets on my nerves.
Well, it shouldn't be long now. The worst of it's bound to be over.
Well, I hope so. Here, let's try Delmonico's here, huh?
I'm always ready to eat, Mr. Dillon.
Morning, Matt. Chester.
Oh, hiya, Kitty.
Well, how about joining me, huh?
Well, thank you. Pull up a chair, Chester.
Yes, sir.
You're up early this morning, Matt. Usually you don't even start breathing till noon.
It's too cold to sleep, Kitty. That jail stove always burns itself out about 5 o'clock in the morning. From then on, you just have to...
Well, what is it, Matt?
Chester, that second table from the window over there. Those 3 men there, do you know them?
No, sir, I don't think I do.
Well, I do. Ran into them about 4 years ago out in Arizona territory. That's the Pueblo Gang. Never heard of them coming this far east before. Well...
You want some help, Mr.
No, just sit tight, Chester.
Matt?
Order me some sausage and buckwheat cakes, Kitty, will you? I'll be right back. I don't want to stay in this town. I don't like it at all. Go ahead, Dick. Morning, boys. It's the Parks brothers, isn't it? Ed and Rio and Chuck Evans.
Well, what about it?
Easy, Rio.
It's Dillon, the U.S. Marshal, the one I told you about.
Yeah, I bet you did. What'd you tell him, Chuck?
Look, Dillon, our food's getting cold. You got something on your mind or not?
Nothing important, Rio. I figure it's quite an honor to have the Pueblo Gang in town. I just thought I'd drop over and tell you how I felt about it.
And how do you feel?
Well, that depends, Ed. Are you boys here on business or pleasure?
Does it make a difference,
Yeah.
Marshal?
Yeah, it makes a difference. I know your reputation west of here. Half the stage holdups in the last 5 years from Colorado to the California border can be laid right at your door. But as far as I know, you're clean in Dodge City, so far.
Now,
all right, you
Dillon,
just keep it that way. You make one move here and your time's up. Right then, you're short, and I'll take you, all 3 of you. You understand?
Sure, we understand. We'll think it over, Dillon, let you know what we decided to do.
Rio, you
about it.
talk too much. Now, see you around, boys. You can put the gun away now, Chester.
All right. I was just going to be ready in case.
Matt, I thought I'd tell you. Those boys are mean. They were in the Texas Trail last night. They're just downright mean.
Yeah, I know.
What do we do, Mr. Dillon? Run them out of town?
Not unless they give us some reason to, Chester.
Yes, sir.
The law doesn't say you can hang a man because he might steal a horse. Yeah, forget it. Let's eat, huh?
Our old train's just about ready to pull out, looks like.
Yeah, it's on time. It's 3 o'clock.
Be in St. Louis tomorrow night and Chicago the next day.
If the engine holds up.
Well, they don't break down so much anymore. They're getting them worked out so they're pretty dependable.
Yeah, I guess so.
You ever get a hankering to take a trip back east, Mr. Dillon, just to see how things has changed?
Not me, Chester. I've been on the frontier too long. I'd be lost back there. I wouldn't know how to act.
I guess a man could get his rope kinked over which fork to use or what to do Matt.
with it. What? Oh, hi, Will. You down watching your competition pull out?
There'll be a stagecoach running for a long time to come yet. Railroad's not bothering me any.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Something else is, though.
No?
Matt, the stage from Buckeye is more than 2 hours overdue. I'm getting a little worried.
Well, why? It's usually late, isn't it?
Not on this particular day of the month.
Oh, what's today particular?
Gold dust.
Oh.
This is the day those placer mines out there always ship their cleanup. Charlie's never missed getting it here at 3 o'clock on time for the eastbound Santa Fe. Not once.
Who's riding shotgun, Will?
Houston Jack.
Well, he's a good man. I doubt if there's any cause to worry.
That shipment runs $80,000 or $100,000 sometimes, Matt. Never been laid before.
Oh, Charlie will probably roll in any minute now. We'll see you later, Will.
So long.
What do you think, Mr. Dillon?
Same as you do, Chester. Let's ride out and meet that stage.
I still think I heard a horse went in, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I thought I heard it, too.
We must be an hour and a half from town the way the stage runs. He sure is late, all right.
I hope late is all it is, Chester. I hope it's not...
There it is again, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it came from that draw over there, somewhere around that sumac thicket. Come on. Come on.
Look, Mr. Dillon, wheel tracks leading off the trail.
Yeah. Running at a dead gallop and out of control, looks like. Well, Chester, there's the stage.
I don't see any sign of life, Mr. Dillon.
No. Let's take a look.
There's tracks all around. Must have been 3 or 4 horses here.
Yeah, 3 the way I'm figuring it. I'll lay any odds you want that this is some of the...
That's Houston Jack, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Shot in the back of the head. Yeah, they didn't take any chances. They must have ridden up behind the stage and fired without any warning. That's probably what spooked the horses and started to run away. Yeah, they shot the lead horse. It's an old trick.
Charlie's still up here on the box. They got him, too. That strong box has been forced open. It's empty.
All right, Chester, let's cut these horses loose and get them out of the traces, huh?
All right, sir.
Come on now, boy. It's the same way they used to work it out west. Shoot the guard in the back and let the team run until they're far enough off the trail and then kill the lead horse to stop them.
You mean that Pueblo Gang?
Yeah, who else? Oh! That's a good thing there weren't any passengers. They'd have got the same treatment. All right, there you go, boy.
I think there were some passengers, Mr. Dillon. One, at least.
What?
There's a couple of trunks tied on top and a carpet bag of some kind inside the stage.
Here, let's have a look. Well, the only bodies are the guards and the drivers.
Say, maybe one of the gang was riding as a passenger.
They wouldn't leave trunks behind it.
What is it?
There's stuff in the carpet bag. Belongs to a woman.
But there's no woman here?
Yeah, I know.
Well, then they must have taken her.
Yeah. And it's almost dark. Come on, Chester, let's try to pick up their trail.
It's just no use going any farther, Mr. Dillon. It's too dark to tell what we're doing.
Well, they were heading toward the river here. Let's take a look through these willows, and if we don't find anything, then we'll ride on back to town.
All right, sir.
I still keep getting a faint whiff of wood smoke from somewhere.
I sure wish we would find the fire. Getting colder in the...
Wait a minute. Look over there.
Well, I'll swear. It's fire, all right. Or what's left of one, Mr. Dillon. You suppose they're still
I don't
there?
know. Let's leave the horses here and go up on foot, huh?
All right, sir.
Well, there's nothing moving. No signs of life.
They couldn't have left too long ago. That fire would have burned itself out.
Well,
I'd say we're too late, Mr. Dillon. I think they've gone.
yeah, it looks that way, all right. Yeah, half hour or an hour ago. Made a fast camp, stayed long enough to warm up, and then they went.
What was that?
I don't know. They're over here, Chester. There's somebody lying on the ground over there.
Help me. Help me, please.
Here. Throw some brush on the fire, Chester.
Yes, sir.
No, it's all right, miss. It's all right now.
3 of them. Robbed the stage. Killed the driver and the guard. Brought me with them.
Anything I can do, Mr. Dillon?
No, Chester, I'm afraid not. For the love of it. Chester, get some light over here. Grab one of those branches that's caught fire.
Mr. Dillon, just a second.
Easy now, ma'am. Just easy now. It's going to be all right.
I pleaded with them. Begged them to let me go.
Here. This help any?
Yeah, hold it over here. Helen.
But they wouldn't. They wouldn't let me go.
Helen Ford.
And when they left, they drew their guns and shot me.
Easy now.
They shot me.
You know who they were? Helen? Helen, can you hear me?
One named Rio. One called Chuck. They sat on their horses. Shot me. Then they laughed.
She's in awful bad shape, Mr. Dillon. We ought to get her to doc.
Shot me. And laughed. But it didn't matter. Not that. No.
Well, I guess it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late. I'll carry her back to Dodge. Get me your saddle blanket, will you, Chester?
You knew her, Mr. Dillon?
A long time ago. Then things happened the way they do. Later, she married Bill Ford and went out to Colorado. It's a long time ago. I didn't expect I'd ever see her again.
It's a bad thing, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna see him hang for it.
We will return. We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, everybody's got a heart. That's a plenty solid reason for everybody to support with generous contributions the annual fund drive of the Heart Campaign. Don't forget, what your money pays for is aimed at making the sick well and keeping the well from getting sick. Support the Heart Campaign again this year. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
Over here, Chester. We'll check the livery stable first.
Yes, sir.
They could have pulled out, of course, but I'll lay odds they came straight back into town.
It won't take long to find out.
Now, let's go in.
Who's there? Who is it?
It's Matt Dillon. Is that you, Mr. Kelvin?
Oh, yeah, sure is, Marshal. Here, let me get a lantern lit.
I'm just fixing to lock up the stable and go over and grab myself a bite to eat. Running things alone again tonight, and confounded boy didn't show up. Like he's not drunk and seen. There. Now, come on, Marshal. Got a fire going back in the office. Come on back. Set us.
I'd like to, Calvin, but we don't have time. I'm looking for some horses.
Well, I got 'em, Marshal. You want to buy, trade, or hire?
Just look.
Yeah.
There are 3 fellas staying over at the Dodge House. They've been there about a week. Ed and Rio Parks and Chuck Evans. They're keeping their horses here.
Yeah, they are, right back here. And if I ever saw a ruination of good horse flesh, this is it. There. Take a look there. That one belongs to the oldest Parks boy, Ed, and the one next to it's Rio's. They been rode, Mr. Dillon. They been rode plenty.
Yeah. What time did they come in, Kelvin?
Oh, about an hour ago, more or less. Gone since forenoon, just come back a little while ago. Look at that horse. Been rubbed down twice. He's still wet.
They didn't say where they'd been, did they?
No, not them. They ain't the talking kind. Just left their horses and went on over to the hotel. Well, wherever they was, though, they must have been riding like the devil himself was chasing them.
Well, maybe he was. Thanks, Mr. Kelvin.
Well, yeah. Sure.
Well, I guess there's not much doubt of it, Chester.
No, sir. It was them, all right.
And I could have stopped it before it happened. A man shouldn't be jailed on suspicion, I figured, just because he might do something wrong.
Well, my. Everybody has to play it the way he sees it.
Yeah, only sometimes you can see it a lot plainer afterward.
What are we going to do?
Go get him, that's all.
Well, where do we start looking?
The Texas Trail. Oh, one thing, Chester, before we go in. Now, you leave the play on this to me, huh? Just keep me covered, that's all.
Mr. Dillon, what was her name before she was married?
Marlowe. Helen Marlowe. All right, come on, let's go.
Well, it was a real dull evening up until now. How are you, Matt? Chester?
Hi, Miss Kitty.
Kitty. I'm looking for the Pueblo Gang. Have any of them been in here?
Why, yeah. One of them's here now. Rio Parks. He's over there at the faro table.
No?
Well, what's wrong, Matt? What happened?
Now, they held up the Buckeye stage. Killed Charlie and Houston Jack. And a passenger. A woman. Helen Ford.
Ah.
All right, Chester.
Be careful, Matt.
Yeah, sure, Kitty. Just cover me, Chester. That's all.
Yes, sir.
500 says I've got the car. That's too much for me. Are you going to cover me or not? What's the matter? You all a bunch of bikers?
Maybe they haven't been out robbing stagecoaches, Rio.
What do you mean by that?
Maybe they don't make their living by killing women.
Dillon, a man could get in trouble shooting off his mouth that way.
You're already in trouble. All right, boys, Rio's checking in his hand. The game's over. You can slide out at the end of the table over there. You're under arrest for murder, Rio.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dillon.
Murder. A murder that you're going to hang for. Now, where are the other 2?
Go find them if you want them.
I'm going to as soon as I finish with you. I said you're under arrest, Rio, and I get your hands up.
Supposing I don't?
You're not going to make any play. You don't have the guts. Shooting a man in the back is more your line, Rio. You're killing a woman. Now get your hands up. That's better. All right, Chester, get his gun.
Seems like it's getting colder, Mr. Dillon.
Clear as a bell, though. Look at that moon.
Where do you suppose they are?
You've been in nearly every saloon on Front Street.
I don't know, Chester, but wherever they are, we're going to find them.
And you know something, Mr. Dillon? When we do arrest the other two, they're as good as hung with the evidence we got on them.
I haven't arrested them yet.
Maybe them other two won't be taken as easy as Rio.
That's up to them. If they want to surrender, they can. I've never shot a man with his hands up. Chester.
Huh?
Ben's barber shop over there. The man that he's shaving.
It's kind of hard to tell with all that lather on
No,
his
it's
face.
Ed Parks. Come on.
And there's just him and Ben in the shop. Wonder where Chuck Evans is.
We'll worry about him later.
Just help yourselves to a seat, gentlemen. Be ready for you just as soon as... evening, Marshal.
How you been? I didn't know you were in the habit of shaving outlaws.
Maybe you're mistaken, Marshal. You just have a seat there and
No, I recognize him, all right. It's Ed Parks.
Looks like you got the advantage of me, Dillon.
No, we can't have that, Ed. Wipe the lather off his face, Ben.
Yes, sir. Sure thing, Marshal. Just a second now, Mr. Parks. There. There you are.
It's too bad you have to leave that shave half finished, Ed. But they'll give you a free one just before they hang you.
What are you talking about, Dillon?
Now, gentlemen...
Ed, you're under arrest for murder. Get your hands up. Your brother's waiting for you at the jail.
You arrested Rio?
What about the hands, Ed? Are you gonna put them up?
No dirty kid!
That was a fast move for a barber, Ben.
I knew he had a gun under the towel, Marshal, but of course I couldn't say anything about it.
Well, thank you, Ben. And if you'll send the bill for your shaving mug to the stage company, they'll probably take care of it for you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Chester, spill some water on him. I want him to walk to jail.
I'll bet Chuck Evans got clean away, Mr. Dillon. The word must have got to him.
Well, he had to do it awful fast. The clerk said he checked out of the hotel less than 10 minutes ago. Kelvin? The light must hurt his eyes. He never keeps a lantern burning.
Afraid of fire, maybe.
Kelvin? Are you there, Kelvin?
Yes. Hey, what's wrong? Who is it?
Matt Dillon.
Oh.
Strike a light. A man could fall over something in this stable and break his neck.
All right. Just don't get excited. I'm used to it myself. I know just where everything is and don't see any point in wasting oil when Now, what's on your mind, Marshal?
Chuck Evans. Is his horse still here?
Yes, indeed. It most certainly is. As a matter of fact, he's back there saddling up right now.
Good.
I told him it seemed like a fool time of night to start out on a trip. You can't reason with anybody that treats horses the way that bunch does.
No, I guess not.
Kelvin!
Bert. Well, go on, answer him.
Yes? What is it?
Give me a hand back here, will you?
Tell him yes.
All right. I'm coming.
What's this all about, Marshal?
Nothing to get yourself worked up about. Just stay right here and stay out of the way. All right, Chester.
Yes, sir. He's got a lantern back there at the stall.
Yeah. Now, you were right about one thing, Chester. He's trying to leave town.
Give me a hand with this, Kelvin. I can't seem to get the...
You going somewhere, Chuck?
Now, look, Dillon. You got nothing on me. Lay off.
The Parks boys are in jail.
I don't know anything about it, Dillon. You can't prove a thing, and you can't shoot me. I'm not even wearing a gun. It's hanging there on the saddle horn.
Yeah. So I see.
If the other boys did something, I don't know anything about it.
You're a liar, Chuck. And you're a coward.
You've got no call to talk like
Shut up! Now you're under arrest. Chester, get his gun off his saddle.
Look out, Mr. Dillon. He's got another gun.
I'll kill you, Dillon. Say, help me!
You're scared, Chuck. You're too scared to shoot straight.
So help me!
Well, I guess that does it, Chester. Come on.
What is it, Marshal? What happened?
Evans is dead. The Parks boys are gonna hang. You're short 3 customers, Kelvin.
Well, who's going to pay the stable bill?
The stable bill?
Yeah.
Oh, you got their horses. Sell them.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Well, it serves them right. Anybody that would treat a horse the way that bunch did, David.
Guess it's over, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it's over, Chester.
And it's just as well. This country'd be a lot better off with them fellas dead than alive.
I guess so.
Even the moon looks brighter.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon, you're still thinking you should have jailed him on suspicion, aren't you?
Oh, I'd have half a Dodge in jail if I started that. No, Chester, it's the kind of a chance a lawman has to take.
Yes, sir.
Whether he likes it or not.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not liking it much right now. In the morning, I'm going to have a talk with the preacher about holding the service for Helen. That's about all I can do for her now.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was especially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Tom Tully, Paul Dubov, John Dehner, Harry Bartell, and Louise Lewis. Parley Bear is Chester, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. More Godfrey. Yes, starting tomorrow on most of these same CBS radio stations, there will be more Arthur Godfrey and his gang, presented by CBS Radio for our Sunday listeners. Folks who are regular Arthur Godfrey fans know there's been a 30-minute roundup of Arthur Godfrey time Sundays at the Star's address. But starting tomorrow, there'll be 30 minutes more with Arthur Godfrey and all the wonderful Arthur Godfrey gang. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Lionel Barrymore's your host on the Sunday Night Playhouse on the CBS Radio Network.
71 years ago, February 28, 1953, Gunsmoke, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Got a moment? Come visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows there, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links, and if you're so inclined, there are a lot of items there available for purchase, or you can buy me a copy. Either of those helps support this podcast. That's at classicradio.stream. In a moment, we'll go back to February 28, 1950 for an episode of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
Millions in Europe and Asia are going hungry and facing actual starvation. Therefore, it's up to us, the best-fed nation in the world, to tighten our belts. We can share a meal and save a life. And here's how. Buy only as much bread and other wheat products as you really need. Use rice, fats, and oils sparingly. Don't waste any food. Turn in your used fats and oils at the food store promptly. Plant a garden and raise as much of your family's food as you can. You are saving food for those who desperately need it when you buy less, especially when you use up those leftovers.
You know, we were very fortunate in America. Our stretching and having to make sure things got done really only lasted during the war. But there are many people in Europe who suffered years and years and years afterwards, and we should be grateful for that. A Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox right now continues with an episode of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe starring Gerald Mohr. This episode goes back 74 years ago to February 28th, 1950.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison or the grave. This time, a friend with millions, a myopic chemist and a long-haired piano player, were thrown into panic because a brilliant young lady with a gun was taking a big step in the wrong direction. It happened like this.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Mohr starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Big Step.
Yes, sir, Mr. Marlowe. I always figure shoes are just like faces.
How's that, champ?
Well, they make it old and they make it wrinkled, but they're still okay as long as they got a shine on 'em.
Yeah, it keeps that right in condition, huh, champ?
Yes, sir. Hey, let me just spank up this one again, huh?
Sure. Oh, come in.
Mr. Marlowe?
Okay, champ, I guess that does it. Here you are.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Marlowe. I'll see you tomorrow.
Right. Well, now that my shoes have a new lease on life, won't you sit down? Miss,
Cantor. Mrs. Betty Cantor.
Oh.
I'm a waitress at the Shelton Cafe. I need your help, Mr. Marlowe. There's something you could do for me. You free to take a case?
Well, I'm free, depending on the case. What is it?
Well, today, this friend of mine, Shirley Vitello, comes into the restaurant where I work.
Yeah.
She takes her usual table, and while she's waiting for her order, she starts reading the paper.
Well, it's all quiet so far, Betty.
Yeah, but just when I'm bringing in the tomato juice, it happens. She sees something in the paper that scares her. Scares her bad.
What was it, Betty? Do you know?
I don't know. She mutters something, and then she runs out of the place. Her face was gray like ashes. Later, I got to worrying. I called her at home, then at the lab where she works, even her husband's studio. No luck.
Now, wait a minute, Betty. I don't quite get the connection. You and Shirley Vitello, I mean.
Oh, I don't know her social. We're only chummy at the restaurant. She's been eating there for years.
Well, that's a basis for friendship.
Well, about 6 months ago, I was in bad trouble. And Shirley came through with $200 when it seemed like more money than I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
It kept me and my husband together. So, you see, she means a lot to me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But look, Bet, what was this about a lab?
Well, Shirley's a technician. She works as an assistant to a chemist named Softman. Abraham Softman, out on Melrose someplace.
Mm-hmm. What about Shirley's husband? Do you know him?
Gilbert? Oh, yeah. He comes in with her a lot. He's a piano composer and a real nice guy.
Mm.
He lives for his work. He's unknown now, but he's a real genius,
Oh,
Shirley
sure,
says.
sure.
She'd do anything to keep him and his music going.
Yeah, well, tell me, this friend of yours saw something in a paper you said that scared her. Now, that's all you know, huh?
Yeah. And I want you to find out why and help her. Here's $50, Mr. Marlowe. That's what you charge, ain't it?
More or less, yeah. By the way, Mrs. Cantor, where's your ring?
I sometimes take it off when I'm working.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
Or perhaps when you hock it to raise $50? Look, Betty, I'm a careless guy. You better hold the money, huh?
Oh, but Mr. Marlowe...
Where do the Vitellos live?
But Mr.
We're in
Marlowe...
a hurry, Betty, remember? Where's the address?
Well, it's 3140 Veteran Avenue. And in case you want it, Gilbert's studio is Benedict Canyon, 510. Thanks, Mr. Marlowe. And you call me at Empire 17087, huh?
When Betty Cantor was gone, I got in my car and drove out to Veteran Avenue. You know, she was a pathetic little creature. And with a little effort, she could have that touch and glow look. Oh, well. 3140 was one of those small but neat houses that grow like mushrooms overnight on a post-war California landscape. And it was locked, dark, and quiet. I went around to the back and started on the windows. The third one opened when I tried it. I climbed in, turned on some lights, and made the grand tour, then entered in the den. The only indication that anyone had been there all day was a current issue of the L.A. Star crumpled in the wastebasket. I pulled it out and started through it. On page 5, I found the hole where a 2-column story had been clipped out. And then somebody was at the front door. I started toward it, but changed my mind at the sound of the key in the lock, and instead moved back into the den and watched. A head that belonged on a gopher wearing a battered fedora and inch-thick glasses above a fur-collared coat peeked in. Gave the place a myopic once-over and headed straight for the den. So I stepped out where he could see me.
I have never seen you before. What are you doing here?
You tell me first, Pop. I'm bigger than you are.
I'm Dr. Abraham Softman.
Softman? Oh, the chemist Shirley Vitello works for. Is that why you have a key?
Yes, she leaves unfinished. She leaves work here for me to pick up. It's a convenience for both of us. But now you can also explain, maybe?
Well, a friend thinks your assistant's in trouble. I'm trying to find out. The name's Marlowe.
Aha. I suspected now I'm right.
What?
Shirley came to the laboratory late from lunch today and very much upset. She left again soon, right in the middle of our most important crimson test.
Your what?
Our crimson test.
Oh, yeah.
Without one word to me, she left. Never does this happen before. In all the 5 years, she has been my loyal right hand.
Well, tell me, what's the nature of your research, Dr. Softman?
We are developing new commercial dyes. Oh, such a beautiful crimson we have now.
Really?
Shirley knows as much as I do about all of it.
Hmm.
Mr. Marlowe. Was it you who opened the desk drawer there?
No. I didn't notice it till now. 2 boxes of .32 caliber ammunition. 9 shells gone from the top one.
She kept a gun there. I've seen it before. That's gone, too. What kind of trouble needs a gun, Mr. Marlowe?
Oh, I could think of a few. And they all say we better locate Shirley, and soon. Now, look, Doc, I want to ask you...
Just one moment,
What?
please. Maybe you will know if this means anything. I found this under her work table after she left this afternoon. Is it maybe something?
I don't know. Let me see. Empty reservation envelope from Federal Airlines, L.A. to New York, departure 11:35 tonight. Made out to Ruth Britton. Ruth Britton? Who's that?
Well, I don't know her, but she must be something to Shirley. Perhaps this Ruth Britton is the trouble.
Well, the airline number's here. Where's the phone?
It's out there in the other room, there on the table.
Yeah, I got it. Hudson 28610.
Good evening, Federal Airlines. Agent Frederick Stowe speaking.
Frederick, do you have a Ruth Britton listed on your 11:35 flight to New York?
Oh, just one moment now, sir. I'll check.
Oh, no.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, well, I've got to locate it. Do you have an address or a phone number there?
Oh, no, sir, I do not. And even if I did, I'm
Look,
afraid I couldn't.
Freddie boy, this is important. I need that information. Now, describe it to me. What does she look like?
Oh, dear, I'm afraid I can't. I must have sold the ticket. I'm the only agent on duty, but I just can't seem to think where
Try, will you think?
I am. How do you expect me to
that
remember
awful?
75 or 80 faces every day?
Now, listen,
Good heavens, don't you think I get confused?
Yes, I
every
do.
Time
Now I
9
do.
or 10 jerks come in here at once, all wanting tickets at the
Never
same time.
mind.
Don't you think I have
Skip
the right
it.
to do it?
Fredericks. Now, look, Doc. Now, look, do me a favor, will you?
What is it?
Stay right here and wait for Shirley. If she comes back, hold her. I'm going to look up her husband, Gilbert. The first stop was a newsstand. I bought an L.A. Star, turned to page 5, and found that the missing story was on a man identified only as Dehner, who'd been hit by a taxi on Temple Street at 8 a.m. The only reason it rated 2 columns was that before he lapsed into unconsciousness, he told the ambulance crew from the Citizens Emergency Hospital that he knew he was going to die and wanted to clear his conscience by confessing a crime he'd committed. It ended with police standing by. I drove on into Benedict Canyon, wondering what kind of a bridge it was going to take to span the gap between a female chemist and a downtown traffic accident. I was still wondering when I got to number 510. All I could see of Gilbert Vitello's studio over the brush around it was something pseudo-Spanish that had been stuck onto a piece of vertical real estate by an optimist in the early 20s. The path had been opened from the driveway to the house, and as I walked to the door, the piano music from inside got louder, but not better. Even in the long-haired circle, that stuff needed a haircut. Hey! Hey! Vitello, break it up a minute, will you?
What's the meaning of this outburst? I'm working and I won't be interrupted. Who are you? What do you want anyway?
Take it easy, Mr. Vitello. My name is Marlowe. Betty Cantor sent me here because she's worried about your wife.
The waitress worried about Shirley. Why?
Well, she's in some kind of trouble. Have you seen her tonight?
No, not since this morning, but that's not unusual. I often work late. My music is very demanding. Now, what gives that waitress the idea that Shirley's in trouble?
Your wife's reaction to a newspaper story. It scared the wits out of her. About a taxi hitting a man named Dehner. Mean anything to you?
Dehner? Shirley worked with a fellow by that name once, I believe, but why would that story frighten her?
Well, I was hoping you'd tell me. Do you have a gun?
A little .32 pistol. It's at home. Why?
It's gone.
See here, what's this all about? Tell me the truth and be quick about it.
Oh, shut up.
Answer my question.
All right. My wife was shocked by that item on Dehner. She isn't at home, she isn't at Selfman's lab, and hasn't been all afternoon. And what's more, she's got a gun. That's all I know, except for one thing. Who's Ruth Britton?
She's a friend of Shirley's from the East. She's been visiting relatives out here. Why?
Nothing. Maybe Shirley's got a plane reservation for her, that's all.
Mr. Marlowe, if that's all you have to offer, why don't you get out of here so I can go to work? I'm quite certain if Shirley were actually in trouble, she'd come to me for help. And incidentally, tell Betty Cantor to take some vitamins or something. She's becoming a meddlesome busybody.
You know, there was a quality about Gilbert Vitello that made me want to sock him on the temperament with the heavy end of his grand piano. When I started down the path to the driveway, I forgot about him, because a pair of headlights slashed through the foliage like a giant scythe. I ran to where I could see and watched the girl in a brown suit get out of a sleek new Hudson and start toward the house. Then she saw me. She backed away, then threw me one scared look and darted into a side path like a jittery cottontail. I followed as fast as I could, but it was home ground to her, and in 20 yards I was outclassed. I lost her at the corner of a sagging shed and stopped to listen for her footsteps. I heard something else, but not in time to duck. Oh! Oh.
You there, you. Marlowe, is that you, Marlowe? Marlowe, what happened, Marlowe? I heard a car come in with a trolley. Who was it?
Shut up. It was Shirley. She slugged me.
I don't believe it. You're lying.
Okay, I'm lying. For what it's worth to you, Die Hard, your wife isn't kidding. She told me personally with a blunt instrument. Play that knee flat, Jack.
Mr. Marlowe, did you get something?
Lumps.
Oh, look at...
How about you, Dr. Softman?
No, nothing. Come in.
Yeah.
No one has come here. You found out something?
Ever hear of a guy named Dehner, Doc?
Me hear of Morris Dehner? 5 times in the past 3 years, Morris Dehner in Chicago has beaten me by introducing a new dye substance or a new process just days ahead of me. 5 times this happened.
He's a dye chemist, too, huh?
A brilliant one. I admire him. But why do you
Listen,
ask
this
me?
is beginning to fit like a rubber glove. Dehner's in a hospital right here in L.A. He may not live, and he wants to confess to a crime. Here, look.
What's
Now, read it
this?
yourself. When Shirley saw that story, it threw her into a panic, and now it only figures one way. Your assistant has been selling your new developments to Dehner before you released them.
No, it is not true. Shirley would not do this thing, not to me.
Okay, Doc, we'll see. Now, look, why don't you go back to your lab and wait? I'm going to the hospital now and do some more fast addition. If it comes right, just don't forget you're a scientist, will you?
Oh, I would not forget. Now, you remember something, Mr. Marlowe. 2 + 2 does not always make 4, especially when you are adding up human hearts.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, Wednesday's Wonderful on CBS, with Dr. Christian, Groucho Marx, Bing Crosby, and Burns and Allen all coming your way over most of these same CBS stations. This Wednesday, Brother Bob Crosby visits Bing. Gracie Allen stumps the income tax experts.
Groucho will be on hand with his ad-libs and teams of opposition. And Dr. Christian makes a wily grandmother stick to the truth for once. So be listening this Wednesday, won't you? Now with our star, Gerald Mohr, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Big Step.
It was 20 stop-and-go minutes through the snarled early evening traffic over to the Citizens Emergency Hospital. All the way, I kept hoping that Deniker's confession wasn't going to have anything to do with Shirley Vitello. But when I was there, standing next to Detective Lieutenant Matthews and filling him in to date, I racked that hope up under wishful thinking. Morris Deniker had already come, too.
Yeah, Marlowe, about a half hour ago. He didn't say too much.
How much?
Only something about this woman you mentioned, this Shirley Vitello, and
Yeah?
the formula for some kind of a bleaching agent. Then he went out again. Hey, look, this Vitello girl who currently adds up to something very dishonest, what does she look like?
Oh, blonde, about 5'4", maybe 30.
Wearing a dark brown suit, no hat?
That's right. She been around?
Yeah, I spotted her here in the hall about 45 minutes ago. Claimed she was a reporter, but she didn't make any small talk with the other news hands. I got a little suspicious. Just then Deniker came too, so I went in there. When I came back out, she was gone. Hey, Marlowe, you know where we can pick her up?
No, I don't, Lieutenant.
Doesn't look so good for her. She could be pretty desperate right now. Like a quick trip to the country.
Or like worse, she's got a gun, Matthews. And now with Deniker starting to talk, very little hope left. I better be going.
Where?
Just going, Matthews.
Hey, wait
I'll
a
keep in
minute.
touch.
Wait a minute. Look, we have a big organization, Mr. Marlowe. We're equipped to handle all kinds. We could do almost as good a job as you. Just keep that in mind, will you?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said almost. So long. I got back into my car and pointed it toward the Vitello place on Veteran Avenue again. Because I didn't know where else I could possibly pick up Shirley's trail. I felt like an uncomfortable emptiness was in the pit of my stomach. You know, like the guy who stands on a street corner and watches an ambulance intern scrape up a traffic victim. He knows he didn't have anything to do with it, but that knowledge doesn't make him feel any better. Shirley Vitello was headed for trouble, bad trouble. And the pathetic little kid, Betty Cantor, who came into my office and started the whole thing, could get hurt in the process. Well, I parked in front of the place, which from inside, a desk lamp showed a circle of light the size and color of a lemon lifesaver, and the front door was open inches, as though somebody had left in a big hurry. I walked on eggs as far as the door and nudged it. And I saw it. On a table in the far corner of the room, a note propped up against the lamp and nothing else. I started toward it.
Don't move. I'm behind you, and I've got a gun.
Oh, fine. .32 caliber out of the desk drawer, no doubt.
No doubt. Marlowe, why are you mixing into something that's no business of yours?
I'm a private detective working for your friend Betty Cantor. She's worried about you, Shirley.
Marlowe, what's done is done. Betty can't help me. You can't help me. Nobody can help me. I stole Softman's work, and I sold it to Morris Deniker. I didn't count on a deathbed confession.
Why'd you do it?
I love my husband, and he needs money to go on with his work.
No. Gilbert's in on this with you, huh?
Oh, no. No, he isn't. He thought my wages were high, that's all. The note I left there on the table makes that clear. Also,
Also what?
it's goodbye. I love him, Marlowe. When I'm gone, he'll have enough money to carry on. Keep the studio that means so much to him. And nothing can be taken away from him. I've seen to that, legal-like.
Just what do you mean gone, Shirley? How far is gone?
A long way, Marlowe. All the way.
Suicide? Oh, no, Shirley, you
Marlowe,
can't mean
let's
that.
not talk anymore. And don't bother about that phone. It's only Gilbert.
How do you know?
Well, when I pulled up outside here after I came from the hospital, he was home. I didn't want to speak to him, so I drove on until I came to a phone booth. And then I called here and told him to meet me at the Saffron Bar. It's an old hangout of ours.
You wanted to leave a note for him, but didn't want to face him, is that it?
Yeah. He'll keep calling on and off for quite a while before he comes back here. I figured it would be better that way. I didn't want him chasing me. The sea air might give the big lug a cold. It always did. Well, Marlowe, it looks like it's about time to put you away for safekeeping.
I don't think so, Shirley. I think the phone is about...
No! Next time, Marlowe, it'll be more than a vase, but just as fragile. Now, the closet's cedar lined and strong. It should hold you long enough. Get in, Marlowe. Go on.
Okay. And it is, baby. But first...
What?
The step you're about to take, Shirley.
Yeah,
Listen.
I know all about it. It's a big step, isn't it, Marlowe? Will save your breath. I wouldn't be any happier in prison or running away, believe me. Not a bit happier. So long, Marlowe.
Nobody's home. Shirley Vitello was mixed up about a lot of things in life, but that doesn't include closets because the one she put me in was strong. The lining she called cedar must have been hand-me-down armor plate from a retired battle wagon. So all in all, I was 45 minutes alternately kicking and resting while the insistent telephone marked the 5-minute intervals for me. But finally, it was the wood around the lock that gave way. I was out. Hello?
Hello, who's this?
Marlowe Vitello, and save your questions till you hear what I have to say.
Marlowe, where's my wife? She was supposed to meet me here at the Saffron Barn.
I said save it. Now listen. Your wife's out to kill herself.
No, Marlowe, no!
Yes, tell me, did you two have a favorite spot out near the ocean?
I don't see what
I don't care whether you see or not, did you or didn't you?
Yes, the Redondo fishing pier below Santa Monica.
Good. Now keep listening, Vitello, and do as I say. Come straight home.
But, Marlowe, it's surely...
Do as I say, Vitello. Come back here and sit tight with fingers crossed. I'll worry about the pier. Goodbye. The second the connection was broken, I picked up the phone again, dialed 116, got through to police emergency operator, and from there to Matthews, who was still at the Citizens Hospital. I told him to pick me up in a squad car and get ready for a fast 10-mile drive to the Redondo fishing pier, where Shirley Vitello was going to kill herself. Then I got outside and waited the 4 longest minutes of my life, until finally Matthews screeched up to a halt. When I piled in, we took off, siren wide open.
Less than a minute now, Marlowe. Pier's only a couple of blocks away.
Good. Better have Mooney kill that siren, Lieutenant.
Jack, we want to come in quiet, Mooney.
Okay, Lieutenant. Well, there she is. That power's out on the pier.
Yeah, Mooney, pull up here, will you? We don't want to scare her into something.
Matthews.
What?
That crowd there, halfway out on the pier.
There's a cop with them.
Yes, so there is. You better drive right up, Mooney. Looks like we're too late, Phil.
We were too late. At the center of a circle of the morbidly curious who always stand and gape, we found her lying face down on the greasy planks of the pier, dead. She'd shot herself through the heart, and the gun, the same .32 she'd used on me, was lying next to her. 2 bullets gone. I explained the extra shot to Matthews.
Uh-huh. Okay, 1 bullet fired up at her place and the other one here. Well, I hope you're satisfied, Marlowe.
What do you mean, satisfied?
I mean single-handed. You had to leave the cops out of it, didn't you? You had to go up to Veteran Avenue all by your lonesome, didn't you?
Now, you wait a minute, Matthews. I was only trying to...
nuts. Hey, Mooney, where's the nearest phone?
Over there, Lieutenant, across the street, the Triple Eagle Cafe. The patrolman here's already called an ambulance.
All right, tell him she can be moved. Come on, Marlowe, I want to turn in a first report on this. Mooney, pick us up at the cafe.
Right, Lieutenant. Okay, folks, okay, let's make it.
So Shirley Vitello was stealing formulas for those dyes from her boss and selling them to this Morris Dehner.
Yeah. All was rosy until Dehner walked out in front of a taxi early this morning.
That put him close to death and in a mood to talk.
Also put Shirley Vitello on the spot. Hey, is that the place you want to phone from?
Yeah. Look, one thing more, Marlowe. The girl's motive all the way through.
She loved her husband, he loved his work.
Yeah? Her too?
Yeah, after his work. So since he didn't make any dough, she stole to keep him going and close to her.
There's the phone, Phil. Come on, will you? I may need you to fill in the blanks for me. Marlowe, I said
I heard you. The phone can wait, Lieutenant. Come on over here.
What?
I want to talk to that piano player.
Piano player? What about?
The tricky way he has of playing Blue Skies.
What?
Yeah. Hey, Bud, that's all right. You got a mean left hand there.
Yeah, I open in Carnegie Hall next week. Don't miss me.
I'll try not to. It's just terrific what you do with that tune, you know?
It's my own particular arrangement.
Nobody else's, huh?
No, nobody's. I've been working on this arrangement for a week.
That's all I wanted to know.
Hey, Marlowe, what are you getting at?
The phone, I've heard enough. Where'd you say it was, Matthews?
Over there, at the left of the bar. But, Phil,
what time is it, Lieutenant?
5 after 12. Marlowe, what is it?
A switch, Matthews.
A switch?
Yeah, one that'll knock your badge off. Will you get a load of this?
Well, listen.
Good evening, Federal Airwaves. Agent Frederick Stoll.
Listen, Frederick, I'm the party who called before about the reservations for Ruth Britton on the 11:35 for New York.
Oh, yes, I remember you. I'll probably
Never mind. It's police business, Freddie. Did the plane leave on schedule?
Of course it did. But Miss Britton didn't make it, and she didn't bother to call and cancel her reservation.
Thanks, I've heard enough. So far, so good, Matthews.
Yeah, which means what?
The Saffron Bar in Hollywood.
Which means what?
Shirley Vitello didn't commit suicide, Matthews. She was murdered.
Okay, Phil. Where's your man?
Right there. That table against the wall.
Oh.
Come on, Matthews.
Hawaiian music, sentimental rocks, degradation, abomination.
Oh, I don't think it's as bad as all that, Gilbert, old boy.
Marlowe, you a cop, the most insensitive of all people. What would you know about music?
Just for the record, he's not a cop.
My question still stands. What do you know about music?
As a matter of fact, not much. But you know, I'm fascinated by what they're doing with instruments these days.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing that might fascinate you?
Well, for example, take that picture where the score is done by only one instrument, a zither. What's more, it doesn't sound like a zither.
To a trained ear, a zither is a zither.
You mean you can't make one instrument sound like another? Well, for example, a guitar like a piano?
Don't be ridiculous.
Now, wait a minute. It's not so ridiculous. Why, only tonight I heard a guitar that sounded just like a piano. Real tricky arrangement it was, too.
Sounded... You're joking.
Oh, no. Oh, you must have heard it, too. It was while we were talking on the telephone.
The telephone? I talked to you?
Sure you did. You remember? You said you were calling from here, the Saffron Bar, but the conversation was being scored by the pianist at the Triple Eagle Cafe at Redondo Beach. A real tricky arrangement in more ways than one.
I didn't mean it. I didn't really want to.
All right, what's the rest of it, Phil?
He didn't want to quit his work and spend the rest of his life hiding in some forgotten corner of the globe.
Which was her plan?
Yeah. As I figure it, once Shirley knew she was finished, she decided they should both run for it. He was in on what she was doing all along.
And the suicide note?
That was part of a plan.
Oh.
Leave hubby here and innocent with the money she got for her shenanigans. Then frame her own suicide, a trail that would lead us to the Redondo Pier, her hat and coat floating in the drink.
Uh-huh. And after a couple of days of searching, we say the tide probably carried the body out to sea. Closed case.
That's right. In the meantime, she's flown to New York as Ruth Britton and is heading on from there. Hubby here to join her at a later date.
Yeah, fine. Only hubby double-crossed her and shot her so he can sit tight with the money right here.
That's it, Matthews.
Please, give me another chance.
Oh, shut up. Wipe them dry, Matthews, and take them away. I didn't go along with Matthews. I didn't even bother about my car, which I'd left in front of the Vitello place. I'd had enough for one night. Enough of the kind of person who'd hitch his wagon to a star only if the twinkle he saw on the horizon was the reflection of a dollar sign. Oh, yeah, they were a pair, all right, the Vitellos. A pair who finally canceled each other out. You know what? I'm glad of it.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character, star Gerald Mohr, are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and are written for radio by Robert Mitchell and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Gene Bates, Paul Dubov, Vivi Janis, Edgar Berrier, and Peter Leeds. Detective Lieutenant Matthews is played by Larry Dobkin. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Orant. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
This time I tangled with a mad Scotchman, a phony English lord, and a beautiful blonde corpse in a freight house. All because of a butler who walked on his knuckles.
How about tying a mental string around your finger today to remind yourself to file your 1949 income tax return as soon as possible? The 15th of March isn't several miles down the road the way it used to be. It's almost at your front door. And you'd certainly get a scare if you came home one evening to find it sitting right smack in your living room saying smugly, "Well, you forgot to file your income tax return. What now, little man?" So why not set aside tonight as income tax night and file your 1949 return? This is Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, where Burns and Allen are heard every Wednesday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
February 28, 1950, 74 years ago, Gerald Mohr in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll continue with more crime in just a moment, an episode of Gangbusters from 76 years ago, February 28, 1948, in the case of John Frederick Benson.
There's a price tag on almost everything. Whether you drive a shiny new 1952 model or a pre-war jalopy, you had to pay the price. And when you're driving that car, remember that speed also has its price. The price tag on speed violations last year was 15,000 killed and 500,000 injured. This year, thousands of lives can be saved if you and millions of other motorists come to the sober realization that speed is the biggest killer on the highways and resolve to slow down before you or someone else pays the price that must be paid for it. You can do your part by keeping within speed limits. At all times, drive as though your life depends on it. It does.
And now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 76 years. February 28, 1948, Gangbusters.
Now in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Gangbusters!
Tonight, the case of the Dakota Badman, who shed handcuffs as a snake sheds skin, but who learned that 2 sudden shots at a federal agent would be repaid in kind.
And now to Gangbusters and facts that show the operation of our law enforcement officials in their war against the underworld. Gangbusters has asked the Honorable Victor S. Anderson, United States Attorney in Minnesota, to narrate by proxy tonight's case.
The inside facts in the case of the Dakota Badman.
Mr. Anderson, I know the criminal you're going to tell us about tonight was, for a long time, at the top of the list of fugitives wanted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
That's right, Don Gardner. This man, John Frederick Benson, didn't know when he'd had enough, but he was to learn that agents of the FBI are also noted for their perseverance.
Well, where would you like to begin, Mr. Anderson?
I think the best place down would be on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. At 3 o'clock on a mild February morning, exactly 2 years ago this week, the all-night clerk at the Palace Grove Modern Tourist Camp was fast asleep in his chair as a lone figure crept by him. The intruder walked cautiously across a dimly lit court, past cabins number 1, number 2, and number 3. He stopped at number 4. He looked around and quietly tried the door.
It's me.
What happened? How did you get out?
They were taking me to the federal building for questioning this afternoon. I broke away. They couldn't shoot on account of the people.
Oh, you shouldn't have tried it. They might have killed you.
That'll be better than rotting the rest of my life in jail.
This afternoon?
Yeah, I was lucky. I made for the freight yards. I've been laying out in a freight car for 12 hours. You sure they don't know you're here?
I'm pretty sure.
I guess they don't. They would have been around.
You must be starved, Jack. I'll get up.
Don't turn on any lights.
Oh, okay.
I got a job for you.
What?
These.
Oh, Jack.
I don't see yet how I made it. Not with these handcuffs on. I was lucky they let me wear a topcoat over my shoulders. I used it to cover them.
But how'll you get them off?
It's no problem with a hacksaw. First thing in the morning, walk to a hardware store and get a hacksaw. Wish I didn't have to wait that long. My wrists are practically cut to ribbons.
Maybe I could use a hairpin or something. Maybe I can get them off.
I'm too tired right now to try. I need some sleep. Get that hacksaw in the morning and we'll go to work on the cuffs.
Attention, Texas and southwestern authorities. Escaped federal prisoner, John Frederick Benson, described in first bulletin. This man, who may still be wearing handcuffs, escaped custody of United States Marshal at Houston, Texas. Caution, caution. Benson may now be armed and is known to be extremely dangerous.
Come on, kitty baby, come on, a little more.
All right, Jack. I'm trying.
A little more, it's almost through.
There. Well, that's that.
Thanks, kid. Didn't think I'd make it.
I don't see yet how you did.
Just luck, that's all.
I guess you're the luckiest guy in the world.
It took some figuring, too. Ooh, my wrists. Well, I gotta do a lot more figuring, baby. We're still too close for comfort. Tourist cabins are okay, but when they're looking, that's the first place on the list. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I suppose we do.
Yep, gotta get out and fast. They want me now worse than ever.
Jack.
Yeah.
What happens now? Where do we go?
Gotta get a heater. Gotta find some place to lay out for a while. That takes dough. Everything takes dough. You got any left, Kitty?
A little.
How much?
300 or 400.
Good. That'll help some. Where you got it?
In my suitcase.
Good girl.
Jack, take the money and leave me here.
You kidding, baby?
No, take it.
What's the matter? You want to stay here?
I can't go through that all over again, Jack. I can't see them get you again. I can't.
What do you have to go through? I'm the one they're after. You talk like I don't mean anything to you.
If you didn't mean anything to me, would you be here now? Would you have those cuffs off?
Yeah, I'm sorry, kid. Guess I wouldn't.
Am I crazy, Jack? Why do I see only good in you? Everybody else sees bad. If they're right, I'm crazy.
I guess you only see what you want to see. Let them think I'm bad. What do you care?
Do you want me with you, Jack?
I gotta have you along, baby. You're my insurance. They take one look at the two of us together and nobody's suspicious. We can go any place and do anything. We're just an ordinary couple of people.
That's not much of a reason for me.
Oh, look, kid, you know you count first all the time, but I think for the next couple of weeks I can't do much traveling. I gotta light someplace and stay there.
Where?
Well, how about Kansas? Your sister's place.
No, Jack. I don't want to get her mixed up in it.
Who does want her mixed up in it? It's a big farm and far away from everything. You said she needs help since her husband died.
You won't like a farm. You'll get restless.
What do you think I was raised on? You wrote Nora you were married. Writer, you're bringing your husband for a visit.
All right. That's what you want.
We can stay there till I get my bearings. Yeah, maybe it'd be a good idea to cool off on a farm. Yeah, rotten stuff. Hey, who needs it?
Jack,
Yeah?
I brought you back some cigarettes from town.
Thanks. Wish you might have let me know you were going. I've been having a wonderful time here pitching hay.
Well, you were still sleeping, and I didn't want to wake you. You got in so late.
All right, Kitty, so I got in late.
Besides, with Nora and the kids, there wouldn't have been room in the car.
Nora and the kids are making me sick. I had all of this farming I can take.
3 weeks isn't so long, and they're still looking for you. They're looking for you hard.
Let them look. Any jail would be better than breaking your back in this kind of work.
Where'd you go last night?
What do you care?
Well, you didn't get in till so late.
Okay, I didn't get in till late. I went to mail a letter.
Oh, I see.
It's to Harry Porter in Omaha. I want him to line up somebody for me. Good gunman.
Then we're leaving here?
Haven't you had enough?
I guess you have. There's big news in town, Jack.
Yeah?
The state bank at Cackley was broken into last night.
Oh, What do you want me to do about it?
You promised, Jack. You promised you lay low and stay out of things.
I don't go in for safe crackings. I'm a gunman.
How did you know the safe was cracked? I didn't say it.
Well, don't all banks have safes? Hey, what are you trying to make me walk into?
You were out late and there's no place to go.
I never broke into any place before. That's not my line.
The talk is it was an amateur job.
Forget it. It had nothing to do with the thing. Now, let me get finished up here.
Yeah, Jack. That'd be a good idea. Oh, Nora wants to fix supper early. She's taking the kids over to the McLaughlins later.
Yeah, the kids. They give me a pain in the neck. Come on, let me get some hay pitched.
Hello, Sheriff.
Oh, Hames. Anything new?
Sheriff, this is Special Agent Dyer, also of the FBI. He was sent down from the Kansas City field office to help out in the investigation, Sheriff Blaney.
How are you, Sheriff?
Glad to have you, Dyer. We need all the help we can get.
Have you been able to turn up anything, Sheriff?
Well, like you suggested, it could have been somebody local. I had my deputies checking up with the people around here.
Anybody suspicious?
You know how it is. We know most everybody in the county. Known them for years. There's a few people we might check into, though.
Oh?
For instance, out at Lem's garage on the Topeka Road. Lem took on a new mechanic, a stranger, a week or 10 days ago. Might talk to him.
We could.
And then there's that new couple out at the widow Emmett's, Jack Rogers and his wife. She's Nora Emmett's sister. Been there about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen much of him, but she's been around with Nora and the kids.
Was there anything suspicious about this Jack Rogers?
Well, no, can't say there is. Got a car and seems to have money. The Emmets are good people.
We'll have a look at them, too.
And there's 3 or 4 others. I've got them listed here.
All right, Sheriff. We'll check on everybody beginning tomorrow, just to play safe.
Kitty! Kitty!
In here, Jack. In the kitchen.
For crying out loud, where are you when I want you?
I'm just fixing lunch for the kids.
Hey, what are you, a nursemaid or something? Let Nora take care of her own kids.
She went to town.
What, again? Does she have to go to town every day? She's been living the life of Riley since we came. I pitch the hay, you take care of the kids. What is this?
After all, Jack, she's been awfully nice to us.
Well, let her get a couple of hired hands. We're pulling out anyway, as soon as I hear from Harry Porter.
Jack, you promised you'd stay until the heat's off. You promised me.
Well, I had enough farming.
Car.
Nora?
No. She said she wouldn't be back till 6.
Take a look out the window. Who is it?
It's not Nora. It's a man.
Cop?
I'll talk to him, Jack. I'll send him away.
Where are the kids?
Upstairs.
Go up and keep them there. I'll handle this.
Be careful. Please be careful.
Go up and take care of the kids.
Let me talk to him.
I'll handle it.
Jack,
Let go.
you're not going to use that gun.
I got it, yeah, and I'll get up there. I'm gonna meet him on the porch. You get up with the kids. Yeah, mister? What can I do for you?
I want to talk to Jack Rogers.
I'm Jack Rogers.
Oh, my name's Dyer. I'm a special agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
That's so.
I understand you...
You understand too much.
Rogers!
Jack, you shot him.
Sure, I shot him. I told you I wasn't going back.
What are you going to do? They knew we came here. There must be more of them
What do
around.
you think I'm going to do? I'm getting out the back way.
All right, Jack, I'll get ready.
No, kid. This time I have to travel light. I'll get in touch with you.
But I want to go.
There's no time. They got nothing on you, Kitty. Don't tell them a thing. You don't know a thing.
I won't tell them anything.
Goodbye. I'll see you.
So, Don, that was the situation. The criminal, John Frederick Benson, shot and critically wounded an agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who attempted to question him. Benson fled the scene and left the girl, Kitty, alone to face the other law enforcement officers.
Now back to Gangbusters. Now, you were telling us, United States Attorney Anderson, that the fugitive John Frederick Benson shot and critically wounded a special agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, then dashed out of the back of the farmhouse, leaving the girl Kitty to face other officers who came to check on the missing officer.
That's right, Don. When Sheriff Laney and Special Agent Haynes arrived, they placed Kitty in custody and rushed Special Agent Dyer to a hospital. Later, at the sheriff's office, the girl was being questioned by the officers in their attempt to get a lead on the whereabouts of Benson.
I'm telling you, I don't know where he is. I don't.
You traveled all over the country with Benson. You were at the farm together 3 weeks. He must have mentioned where he counted on going when he left.
We were going to stay for a while. There wasn't any thought of leaving.
The FBI agent he shot might die.
I know. I'm sorry.
Being sorry doesn't help much.
If you want to help, tell us where he went.
I don't know.
Well, he must have given some
I
indication.
don't know where he went. Please believe me, I don't.
All right, miss. That's all.
You mean I can go
Yes, you can go.
now?
Yes.
As much as we'd like to hold you, there's no charge we can place against you.
I see.
Have you got any place to go?
Back to the farm, I guess, for a while. Then I don't know.
All right. If we need you, we'll be in touch.
I'm sorry I couldn't help you more.
So are we. Well, Sheriff, she's on her way.
I hope you get something out of it, Haynes. Me, when I get somebody that belongs in jail, I like to keep him there.
Sheriff, Benson's a lot more important than she is. And if he knows she's out, maybe he'll arrange to see her.
Hi. Well, Jack, ain't it? What do you care? What are you drinking? I'll buy you another. Never mind. The name's Megs. Harry Porter said I might find you here. Yeah? How is Harry? Okay. Is his ear still giving him trouble? It's not his ear, it's his stomach. That's right. It is his stomach. He said you was looking for somebody to go in business with. Maybe I am, but not here in Omaha. I'm free to travel. Megs, huh? That's it? Gun boy? Nothing else. Okay, I'll think about it. I gotta think about it too, Jack. You're a pretty hot customer. There's not many who shoot up G-men and are walking on the street to talk about it. I never talk about it, especially in bars. It's a nice, quiet place. Let's go for a ride. There's not so many years in automobiles. Come on.
Special Agent Haynes.
Haynes, this is Marshall. We just got a teletype message from Minneapolis. The girl, Kitty, got there on the train this morning and bought a bus ticket to Sainish, North Dakota.
Sainish, huh? Benson's got relatives there.
Yeah, I know. We're already watching him.
Okay, let's move in a little closer. Get plane reservations for Minneapolis. We'll work out of there.
Okay, Megs, you'll do. Thanks, Coach. I never thought I'd make it. Look, if there's one thing I don't like, it's wise guys. Take it easy on the cracks and take it easy on the talking. What's eating you, Jack? If a guy's got no sense of humor, he's got nothing. I got nothing to laugh about. It's strictly business, Megs, and remember that. Okay. Well, when do we get started? Ever worked the Dakotas? Dakotas? What's up there? Plenty. If you know where to find it. Why take such a trip? I've got a way of operating, Megs. It includes having a girl along. Make things look good. The girl I want along is up there. Ah. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I got a girl, too. One's enough. Yeah, one's enough. As long as she's yours. If you don't want it my way, Megs, you can get out right here. Okay, all right. You got a traveling companion. Don't get excited.
That's the house, Haynes. Kitty moved in the day before yesterday. We got a mail check on the place. No letters from Benson.
Well, what about the phone?
Well, that's going to give us some trouble.
Well, what kind of trouble?
Benson.
Now, stop and light a cigarette. I want a better look at the place.
All right. It so happens that Benson's aunt is the night operator. I didn't want to plant anyone in the exchange. If she spots him, it might queer the works.
Okay. But keep agents posted around the exchange every minute the aunt is on duty.
Will do. The manager of the exchange has no connection with Benson.
Good. I don't think Benson will have nerve enough to come right to the house. He might figure it's covered. But I'm almost certain he'll try to get in touch with Kitty. And if he does, we want to know about it. Come on.
Kitty?
Jack.
I want to make this short and sweet, baby. I'm close. I'm going to come by for you.
Jack, maybe you oughtn't to.
It'll work. Is my aunt home?
No. She went to see a friend before work.
Okay, I'll get in touch with her when I get in. She'll tell you where to meet me.
Be careful, Jack. Be careful.
Don't worry about me. I'll be all right. I want to get off this line. So long.
Goodbye.
Okay, Meg, let's get out of here. Sit down, will you, Jack? Let me finish my drink. All right, then make it snappy. Who you calling, that dame? Yeah.
She got a friend?
She don't live in this town.
Oh. Well, who cares if she's got a friend? Hey, when do we get this baby yours and where? I'm getting curious.
You don't have long to wait now. Did you ever hear of a little place called Sainish?
Should I have?
We're driving there right now.
Good, good.
That's where we take on our extra passenger. Now get finished up. We got 50 miles to drive.
Okay, okay.
Haynes?
Yes?
The manager of the local telephone exchange just got in touch with me.
Oh?
There was a call to Kitty. It came through from Bismarck.
From Benson?
He doesn't know. He just saw the ticket. He happened to go by the office, and the ticket had just been filed.
Is Benson's aunt on duty at the board?
No, she's not scheduled to come on for another hour.
Okay. We'll get in touch with the police at Bismarck to be on the lookout for Benson there. And we'll keep a double watch here in town all night. Crossman and Gould on the house, you and I at the telephone exchange where we can cover any more calls.
Now, back to Gangbusters.
So this is Sainish, huh?
Yeah, this is Sainish.
I can see why you left it at such an early age, Jack. What do people do around here for excitement?
They sleep. Watch where you're driving there. Stop sign.
I see it.
Okay, go on.
Stop sign they need there. Why, to see the cows coming?
That's the telephone exchange in the middle of the block.
You mean your aunt's got to stay on duty all night? Who makes calls around here at night?
Pull in over there.
Okay. Why don't we go to the dame's house?
I'm doing this. All right, turn out the lights.
Okay. Hey, what do you need a gun for here?
I didn't need it back in Kansas either, but I used it. Come on.
I'll wait here.
Come on, I said.
Oh, okay.
All right, we go around the back.
Well, what's the matter with the front? Nobody's there but your aunt.
We'll go around the back.
Well, it's trouble to see a dame.
Come on, and shut up.
That's far enough, Ben.
What? Cops? Get him!
Duck. Shoot at him. No. Jack. Right, put your hands in the air.
Okay, hike it up.
That's it. Keep.
Okay, take it easy.
Now, where did the bullets catch Benson? The heart, I guess. He's dead.
Okay. Wait here till the coroner comes. I'll take care of this one. Go on, you. Start walking.
Okay, I'm walking. Just a minute. I'm coming. Oh,
Hello, Kitty.
he's not here. I swear he isn't.
I know he isn't. 2 in the morning and you're all dressed. You weren't expecting to go out.
I was up reading.
Oh, I thought you might be going out to meet Benson.
That's not so.
It is so, Kitty. And you know it.
What do you want? You can't come in here.
Can't I? I came to tell you, Kitty. Benson's dead.
Oh, no.
He tried to fight us. All right, you better come along with me.
He wasn't bad. Not really. He was good to me, honest he was. He was good to me.
I don't doubt it, Kitty. But being good to you wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. He wasn't very good to his victims, nor to the FBI agent he shot. Come on, let's go.
That, Don, was the end of one of the most intensive manhunts in recent years. John Frederick Benson died by the gun, the way he expected to thrive. And the same finish faces any man who thinks he's bigger than the law which governs all of us.
Thank you very much, United States Attorney Anderson, for this pointed case history. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the law enforcement officers who participated in the investigation leading to the conclusion of this case. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Ken Lynch and Charlotte Lawrence in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
76 years ago, February 28, 1948, Gangbusters on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Our Leap Day special tomorrow of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Thursday. We'll have Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis with our guest Tony Curtis, George Burns, Gracie Allen, and The Lives of Harry Lime, Nick Carter, Private Detective, and an episode of X-1. That's all tomorrow on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll wrap up this Wednesday edition with an episode of Suspense and a story of a rotten cop.
Our religious institutions are strongholds of the American way of life. Our country was founded by men who had faith in God and who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice for the sake of that faith. Today, the religious institutions in your community need your interest and support. So take an active part in religious affairs. Your pastor, rabbi, or priest will give you invaluable family counsel and aid if you are a newcomer to the community. To face the problems of the future, America must be morally strong. And that moral strength comes through worship and faith. Go to church this week and take someone with you.
A reminder to visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Many thanks to Doug for doing what many of you have done in the Buy Me a Coffee function. And Doug was very, very generous. We appreciate that. You can do that at classicradio.stream. Purchase something that's on the page there. That helps us as well. And you can also learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. And you can also find our links on Twitter or Facebook. That's all there at classicradio.stream. Right now, we end this day's show with an episode of Suspense from 64 years ago, February 28th, 1960.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
When a man stops by at your place of business for a little collection, it's usually because somebody is collecting from him. Well, let's find out who that collector is as we bring you Lieutenant Langer's Last Collection.
Well, Bruno.
Lieutenant Langer.
It's been a long time.
I thought you had been transferred.
I was, Bruno. I was.
Then what are you doing in town?
Let's just say I came to look up an old friend.
About what?
A personal matter. Maybe we better go in the back.
Very well.
Looks like you're doing all right for yourself now.
Oh, I repair a few watches, make a few dollars on small loans. Now, what is it you wanted to see me about?
You know, Bruno, life in the sticks is bad. It's easy to get in a jam out there.
Come to the point. What is it you want?
$2,000.
What?
You heard me.
I won't pay.
Oh, yes, you will. Bruno, you've already got 2 previous convictions as receiver of stolen goods. One more ought to send you away for a long, long time. Maybe until the day you die.
But I have done nothing. I've been straight since the time you let me go. I paid you $1,000 then, and you said you would forget about it. You would give me another chance.
That was then. This is now.
But I'm clean. You've got no evidence.
Bruno, how hard do you think it would be to plant some gems on a convicted fence?
Then I will fight. I will tell the judge everything I know about the bribe I paid.
Then it would be your word against mine. A cop against a convicted diamond cutter.
But from what I heard, your word isn't so good anymore. That's why you were transferred from special duty downtown.
All they had were suspicions. They couldn't prove anything on me.
Maybe I'm just the man they're looking for.
Listen, you...
Please, Langer, for myself I am not asking. I'm an old man. Money does not mean much to me anymore. It's my daughter. She writes me from California. She wants me to come and live with them. I thought if I took a little nest egg... maybe I could give it to them, maybe help to set them up in a little business.
Come on.
Please. I've worked so hard to go straight. It hasn't been easy. Give me this chance.
Listen, you think you've got troubles. The kind of trouble I'm in, if I don't have $2,000 by tomorrow morning, I might just as well forget about breathing. Now get me the money.
All right, all right. Only once a man is paid, you should leave him alone. Here you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1,000, 7, 8, 9, $2,000.
And $200 traveling expenses.
I won't pay.
$300 for being reluctant.
Robbery.
Now look, you little runt.
Help.
You keep playing hard to get, and I'll tear you apart with my bare hands.
Please.
Now, are you going to give me the money and keep your mouth shut, or do I have to get rough?
Yes. Just put me down. Huh? What's the matter with you?
Nothing. Get the money.
All right. Here you are. 1, 2, 3. Now leave me alone. Something is the matter with you. What is it?
It's nothing. I'll be all right.
Maybe you better sit down a minute. Sit till you feel better.
What, and have you robbed me if I pass out? I'd rather take my chances on the street.
Out of my store, leech. Worse than a leech. I tried to help you and you called me names. Is there nothing left inside you? No decency, nothing?
This is a tough world, Bruno. Dog eat dog.
Out of my store, dog. Worse than a dog. You with your $100 coat and brown suede shoes. Out of my store. My only wish is that you should drop dead right before my eyes. Out!
With pleasure, you little crook. It's bad. I can tell it's bad this time. I'll be all right. Just take it easy. Just take it slow and easy. It's happened before, and I was all right. Just keep walking. Take it slow till I get to the avenue to call a cab. It's getting worse. Feels like a hot bar inside my chest. Red hot. No. I've got to stop and rest. Lean up against something. There. That's better. My left arm feels numb. Now my leg. I can't move them. They're dead. I can't move at all. I can't walk. Help. Somebody help. Please.
Well, of course, I knew full well what she was referring to, but do you think she'd admit it?
Please help.
What?
Please help me. I'm a very sick man.
Paul, don't go near him. Can't you see he's drunk?
Please.
Look at him. He can hardly talk. He's so drunk.
Sick. Heart.
Don't let him touch you. He's falling. Falling down drunk. It's disgusting. You'd think the police would do something about this neighborhood. It's getting so I hate to walk through it anymore. Nothing but drunks and juvenile delinquents. Come on, Paul. Just let him lie there till he's sober.
Mister?
No. My heart. I'm sick.
What's the matter with him, Chino? I don't know. Think he's got a heart attack or something.
Help me. Please help me.
Well, what you gonna do, Chino? I don't know.
Please.
Look, he passed out. Yeah. Oh, come on. Give me a hand.
Oh, what you gonna do, Chino?
What you think we're gonna do? We're gonna help him. Now, come on. Lift. All right. We'll take him downstairs to the clubhouse where he can lay down.
Oh, man, he's heavy. Yeah, he must weigh a ton.
Look, get your head under his arm and lift.
Yeah, all right.
Come on. Watch these stairs.
Yeah.
Easy now. Don't let him slip.
I got him.
All right. All right, now hold the door.
Yeah, I get off my foot.
Yeah. All right. Here.
right, let him down on this couch. Hey, watch his head. Yeah. Boy, he weighs more like a whale than a man.
Yeah.
Oh, what you gonna do now, Chino? Call a cop?
Yeah, I guess so. Get his wallet so we can see who he is.
Yeah, okay. Hey, look at all this money.
Give it here.
How much you think there is?
I don't know. Must be $2,000 at least. Yeah, $2,300.
Well, what are you going to do now, Chino?
I don't know. Just think of what we could do with $2,000.
Yeah.
Hey, we could own this town.
Yeah. Yeah, what are we going to do with him?
I don't know. Let me think. What's it say inside his wallet? Nuts.
Oh, what's it say?
He's a cop. How do you like that for all the lousy
Oh, what are you going to do now?
I don't know. Well, for crying out loud, will you let me think?
Boy, I hate to give back all that money. Yeah, we could maybe buy a car or...
I got it.
What?
We're going to get rid of him.
Now, look, Chino, I ain't going to get mixed up in nothing, especially with no cop.
This ain't murder. Listen, now we strip his clothes and dress him in any old junk we find in the trash. Make him look like a bum. Then let somebody else pick him up.
Yeah, but this is a cop. I ain't going to have nothing to do with no cop. They'll recognize him.
Ah, they won't. You see in his wallet? What? Yeah, look. It says he's attached to downtown someplace. Now, that's the beauty of the thing. When the cops in this precinct pick him up, they'll think he's just a wino. Maybe he froze to death during the night.
Yeah, but, Chino, that's murder.
No, it ain't. We picked him off the street now, didn't we? Oh, we got a right to put him back there. We ain't doing nothing for him or against him. Besides, look at him. He's half dead.
They left me out here to die. Like a bum lying in the alley. I don't want to die that way. Please, don't let me die that way. Look at the snow coming down. Soft, white flakes that melt against my face. So beautiful. I don't want to die. There's a street down there. I can see it. If I could only get to the street, somebody would see me. Nobody will see me here. Maybe if I try to crawl. No, I can't do that. If I try to do any more, it'll kill me for sure. I can feel it in my chest. The whole area hot and numb. If I try any more, I'll tear it wide open. What was that? Bomb going through the trash. Help. Please help.
What's that?
Help.
What's the matter, Mark?
Help.
Oh, you had a little too much, huh? You got down and you couldn't get up, eh?
Please help me. I'm sick.
What? You're sick? Oh, I know all about that, Mark. Sick? Now, you talk about sick. I remember one time these two... All right. Always glad to help a pal. You're heavy, buddy. I'm afraid I can't do much more than lift you up against this wall. You're too heavy. There. Whew. Ain't much, but at least your face is out of the gutter. You got a better slant in the world now. Yeah, I know. Don't look like much, does it, the world? But that's all we have. We gotta make the best of it. Yes, say, make the best. Say, you wouldn't happen to have a little drop of what ails you, would you? Just a taste?
Oh, please.
Yeah. Well, You are the most ungrateful jack I ever did see. A man goes to all the trouble of pulling you out of the gutter and you won't even share the wealth, which I see a bottle sticking out of your coat pocket, plain as day.
I'm sick. Please help.
Sick, yeah. All right. God helps those who help themselves, as they tell us down at the mission.
Please, I'm very sick.
Oh, that's good. Just what I needed. Something to fight the cold. How about you? Do you care for a snort?
No. Doctor, please get a doctor.
You don't need no doctor. What you need is a drink. You sure you don't have any more on you?
Oh, please, doctor.
Now, wait a minute. Don't you go passing out on me. Well, maybe I just better have a look. You've been known to hold out on your friends before. Nothing. Not a dime. Not even a cigarette butt, even. Well, if we had something we could pawn, we could get some more with that, eh? But you don't even have a cigarette lighter on you. Nothing. Not a thing. Wait a minute. Oh, those shoes. Those are mighty fine-looking shoes you got there, buddy. I know a place where I could get 50 cents for these shoes, maybe even $1.
What are you doing? Where are you going?
Oh, don't you worry. I'll be right back. I got a bottle for these. I'll be right back. We share and share alike.
Please come back. I'm close in here.
Oh, now, come on, Bruno. I brought you a fine pair of shoes. What'll you give me for them, huh?
Quarter. Take it or leave it. Or get out. They're closed.
Quarter? Look at these. These are fine shoes. I paid $30 for them, new.
You never bought a pair of shoes in your... Where did you get these brown suede shoes?
What do you mean? Where did I get them? They're mine.
Come on now.
Shoes.
I won't turn you in. You just tell me where you got them.
Yeah, well, gee. What's it worth to you?
50 cents for the shoes.
50 cents for the shoes and $1 for the information.
$1 for both.
I promise you won't turn me in.
I promise.
Well, I took him off a guy in the alley out back.
Quick. Here's your money. Now show me where. Well, so we meet again, Lieutenant Langer. Only this time you aren't so full of orders and throwing your weight around, huh? Oh. My only regret is that you don't still have the money you borrowed from me. Help. Please help me. I should help you after what you done to me. That's very funny, Lieutenant Langer. Very funny. Bruno, please help me. I've seen you start out, Langer, from an honest rookie to a cop on the take. And then you moved downtown, and God knows how many people's lives you made miserable while you were assigned down there. Not that I have lived such a pure life myself, but at least I have been trying to go straight, trying to change. Please, Bruno. Please, one more chance. One more chance for what? To come back and hold me up any time you want to? What do you think I am, stupid? Better I should see you die by inches than help you by raising my little finger for all the good you have done me or anybody else.
What have you got there, Bruno?
What? Oh, Officer Reardon, I didn't hear you come up.
I saw you from the light of your back door. I thought maybe you were having some trouble.
No trouble. But I'm afraid this man is, though.
That wino? Well, his trouble can't be cured. Just leave him there to sleep it off. He'll be all right by morning.
I think you had better call an ambulance. He looks like a very sick man.
He looks like a pretty drunk man, Bruno. Go on home. He'll be all right. Winos are more trouble than they're worth.
I don't think he's drunk. I think he is sick.
He's drunk, I tell you. You can see by just looking at him.
Please, Reardon. This man is sick. He has had a heart attack. If something isn't done quickly, he will die.
How do you know that?
He's a friend of mine.
I hear you're leaving us soon, Bruno.
Yes, tomorrow I take the plane for California. I'm getting out of the business for good.
Well, I want to wish you luck, and I want you to know I'll miss having you in the neighborhood. Been a big help to me around the neighborhood.
I was only doing something. If nobody did nothing, what would the world be?
I want to thank you just the same.
That's all right. You've been a good rookie, Reardon. I know you'll make a fine policeman.
And I want to tell you how sorry I was about that friend of yours. I'm sorry we couldn't get him to the hospital in time.
That's all right, Officer Reardon. Maybe things worked out for the best. After all.
Suspense. You've been listening to Lieutenant Langer's Last Collection, written for Suspense by George Bamber. Heard in tonight's story were Frank Milan as Lieutenant Langer and Murray Forbes as Bruno. Others in our cast were Frank Thomas Jr., Ginger Jones, Jack Grimes, Ian Martin, and William Mason. Listen again next week when we return with Sleeping is for Children by Eugene Francis and Ralph Bell. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
64 years ago, February 28, 1960, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Tomorrow, a mixed bag with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, George Burns and Gracie Allen, Orson Welles and the Lives of Harry Lime, Nick Carter, Private Detective, and X-1, all for Leap Day. Thanks for making us a part of your day, and we'll see you on Thursday for another Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox podcast.